All right, I think we're back. I will. Hopefully, this made things a little bit better, but we'll see. It may just be. We've done 20 of these suckers, and we've never had this delay before. So I'm gonna guess it's just some random bandwidth issue, and sadly, we'll just have to live with it. Is that any better at all? We'll see if it improved a little bit. Maybe we get lucky. I can try doing the clap thing where we see if my audio syncs with. I'll wait to see if anyone in chat can confirm. Someone tell me if we're better. A little better. That's sad. Well, I'm guessing it's just the way the interwebs is gonna work with us today. So, yeah, so I think it's interesting because you have these different kind of like subsects, but there are also a lot of yeah, it's really weird. You can't. Twitch is just being weird.
We've angered somebody with the religious topic, somebody above. It can be a coincidence. We have to be careful what features do we add in the game.
That's right. Speaking of, so there were a number of religions we decided not to add, and I know that was kind of a controversial topic that some people were like, "Oh, why don't you add all of them?" There was, I think, like you mentioned some. I actually had to look a couple of them up. Like one that I didn't know was, and I'm gonna pronounce this wrong. It's a Bulgarian religion. It's Bogomilism. Is that how do you pronounce that?
It was you were pretty close, by the way. It spread even in Italy, and it started around here, but it wasn't limited to Bulgaria. But there are a lot of religion branches that we considered, which were very important actually. There is Ibadi Islam, Coptics, and so on. And it's not that we wanted to ignore these religions and somehow leave them out, but just gameplay wise, we couldn't figure on interesting divisions and something that can we can make some real gameplay differences between those branches of the religion. And if you start that way, there are so many subdivisions, and it's extremely hard to decide which one to cut and which one to leave. So yeah, we stopped at this separation, and that's why, for example, some Coptic Christians can be just Orthodox Christians in the game.
Yeah.
Which is not extremely historically correct, but it's some simplification of the world's religious division at that point.
Yeah, and I understand the point there. Hey, Flavius Eugenius, I think the point is that we're trying to add enough gameplay depth in each of the different branches, so there's some uniqueness there, and you can't do that forever, right? We don't have infinite resources to make infinite realism there, so you have to kind of make the hard choice and figure out separation. Sithkas, welcome. Nice to have you here. Yeah,
and
I think. Go ahead. Sorry.
What we didn't want to do is just to have a different name of religion, but make it exactly the same in the game. It makes no sense. So yeah.
No, I agree. I think it worked out well. Sweet Butter Toast. Hey, Sweet Butter Toast. A good name. So let's start with we've talked a little bit about the different ones. I think my favorite, honestly, gameplay wise, is personally paganism. Just because they're very different and there's a lot of different unique things you can do with it, so I find that kind of fun. Yeah, we'll it's all of them have their unique flavors based on what kind of province you're playing. I actually played a pagan kingdom the last time I played, and it was deciding and getting all those different boosts can be quite interesting. So
we can say that the pagans are the ones that are most different from the others because they have totally different gameplay and strategies.
Yeah, definitely. So oh yeah, a whole bunch of people saying Griffonier. I got it after a while. And Stodor89, welcome. GoLab188, welcome. Lorvang, welcome. We got a lot of new names actually. I don't think I've seen before, so it's great to see some of the new faces today. So let's start with talking about some of the kingdom to kingdom interactions inside of religions. I think that's an interesting element to the gameplay. So when it comes to like how kingdoms interact based on their religious beliefs or their religious structure, how does that work?
Well, This basically affects the diplomacy between the kingdoms, including desire for war, alliances, but actually almost everything, with different weight, of course. For example, for marriages, it's very important to maintain the same religion, alliances, and so on. But additionally, it's very important to have the same religion, and also if you have the same sub-religion, the bonuses are even higher on diplomacy. But there are some things that spice everything up. For example, if you are playing with Muslim kingdoms and you are trying to make a caliphate, and another kingdom has one, it sometimes can be negative for the relations between kingdoms, because there is some competition uh, between the kingdoms in one that preach one and the same for the one and the same religion, and there are some similar mechanics for Orthodox Christians, for example, fighting for autokefali and having the ecumenical patriarchy, and having, if you're Catholic, you try to have cardinals in Rome, ultimately have the Pope from your kingdom, and so on. So it's kind of mixed. For some things, it's advantageous to try to build strong diplomacy with a kingdom with the same religion, but sometimes it's a mixed bag. It can backfire for some things.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think there's and by the way, the volume's okay. I saw someone saying that maybe the volume was an issue. Maybe it's if everyone can confirm if they're having good volume sounds. I'm seeing like most people are okay, so maybe it's Marissa, you can check your settings. I don't know, but let us know if you're having problems there. Yeah, I think the I like that there's different dynamics with the different interplays, because obviously if there's tension because you have different religions that exist there, but even inside of like a religion, there's almost like there's competition based on what you're trying to accomplish. That kind of plays in a sense with like trying to get the ability. Sometimes you want to lead a crusade, say if you're a Catholic, because there's some benefits to that, and sometimes you don't, and like there's some of that interplay of like trying to stay off the radar of like the Pope asking you to lead it or
Yeah,
whatever, or if you happen to be the Pope because your cleric got promoted, there's those different dynamics definitely add some of those interactions between kingdoms and even inside of like your royal court, which I think is kind of cool.
yeah.
And there's also some other layers there where it's like you actually have different build options, which I find this really interesting because it's not just um, uh, everything gets delayed in 2021, including the stream's syncing, right? I think it's interesting too because you have the different like build options when you're province development, or even some of the units based on which religion you are.
Yeah, we talked very little about this in the very early dev blocks, but yeah, it's very complex how religion can affect what units you can build, because some units depend on your kingdom religion. Other units can depend on the province religion. For example, I'm not sure if I'm getting these examples right, by the way, but for example, you cannot build temporal knights if your kingdom is not Christian. You just cannot build them. You can hire them as a mercenaries in the rare occasion that you have such units being mercenaries, but you can never build them actually.
Yeah, I
And
really like the idea that like the different flavors that come out from like if you're playing Orthodox versus like one of the Islamic sects or even paganism, and those buildings have different bonuses, and the way that you kind of approach developing your province can be very different. I think that wasn't something that I know that the different unique units existed in Knights of Honor 1, but the building uniqueness and the functional differences, that's something new in Knights of Honor 2 Sovereign, and it's subtle, but it still does add that little bit of like, okay, when you're playing this type of kingdom, you definitely feel the differences, and you have to kind of plan your bonuses accordingly.
Yeah, the building uniqueness is very interesting because it's for buildings and upgrades inside the buildings.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
you have some unique buildings which you can build only if you have a specific religion, and usually the differences are not extremely great, but they're significant enough. For example, if you want to build a great mosque, you need totally different resources. Yes, you have similar bonuses. It provides faith, it provides books and so on. They are not. It's not a military building. It's still a religious building. But for example, for Christian cathedrals, you need stuff like uh,
Marble, right?
glass, marble. I think it's a lot of stuff, but candles are very important, and it's not the same as for the requirements of the mosque, because well, you don't use candles for Islamic rituals. It's shaitan stuff. So um, there are
Yeah,
a
and
lot of differences like
we added
this.
a lot of new military units too, I believe, like different theme military units based on their religion.
Yeah, yeah. There is a logic that allows you or disallows you to build some troops depending on your religion. So yeah, it's something that we wanted from day one in the game, actually, for the
What are
units.
some of the ones that you can build? I know that there's a question coming up right now about like other military order units aside from just the Templars and the Teutonic Knights. Do you have other examples you can maybe tease the stream with?
Well, it will be quite hard for me right now to remember the exact requirements, but I think maybe Janissaries had religion dependency. Um, it's hard for me to figure out.
Oh, I
There,
put Alex
there,
on the spot. This is where Gogo comes to the rescue. Where's Gogo with his unit knowledge?
we actually considered some strictly religious units. For example, there were some very famous clerics that were fighters at the same time. But actually, we didn't put such corner case units in the game. We have a lot of units that depend on cultures, kingdoms, and religion, but it's not. Don't expect some paladins and so on marching in the game. It's not like that. The effect of the religion.
Okay, but I mean, if we get a whole bunch of people that want like special units, you never know. Like, you guys get really active on the forums and start being like, "We want the paladins. We want the paladins." We see like a thread with like 50 posts that all say, "We want the paladins." Hashtag bring us paladins. Maybe you never know. You never know. Crowds can definitely have. I mean, we already have the goats coming in. Some a pagan sect of the goat. We talked about goat riders or something like that. There could be some special bonuses there. So
Sure.
So let me see if I can. So let's talk a little bit about the conquest part here too, because like when you conquer a province that is of a different religion, they stay that religion, right? Like you don't get they don't convert right away. Yeah, holy goats, right? Um,
Yes. You can conquer province that has a different religion. It stays that way. Although there's one very cool skill. If you have a marshal with theology, he can instantly convert the province. But that's
oh,
a very
really?
rare case. Yeah, yeah. It's a special built for marshals, and it's pretty nice if you want to go on a long conquest in lands of different religions. But yeah, basically, the religion is not converted. Also, you can start with some provinces for some kingdoms that have a different religion or sub-religion. For example, if you start with the Latin Empire, it's a very powerful kingdom. You hold Constantinople and have the ecumenical patriarch, but you're actually a Catholic. So it's very tricky because all of your provinces are Orthodox, and it's a very big obstacle to try to figure out how to maintain the stability of your kingdom. Sometimes it's even a good strategy to give up and convert your kingdom's religion, which is an interesting option. Instead of trying to convert the people of your kingdom, you can just decide to convert the
way
whole
around,
religion.
right?
Yeah. It sometimes is the better strategy, especially if 70 or 80% of your provinces follow one religion. Well, you can try to change the kingdom religion, but
That's
basically,
very almost very Machiavellian to a certain degree. It's like, imagine you're a small province that's of one religion and you take over a larger kingdom just by your own guile and military strength that's of a different religion. Maybe instead of trying to convert all of them, you convert to their religion and then take it as your own.
yeah.
That's a yeah, it definitely makes sense, especially if you like do an expeditionary force, like say a different part of the world that doesn't but you're just trying to create a foothold there. So interesting. Yeah, I feel like there's a whole different dynamic there where it's like trying to figure out which what's the better use of your religious currency, so to speak, like your faith or your piety or whatever,
Yeah.
and how you want to approach that.
Yeah, converting provinces initially was much simpler in the game. It was very basic. You just have to pay some gold, some piety. You need to have either it's cleric or a scholar or a shaman, depending what religions do you have. But it's pretty much the same character with different possibilities and actions. But they share a lot of common actions, and converting religion of a province is one of them. And it was easy to do. It costed a lot, but you know that if you have the cleric and the resources, you convert the province. But right now, it's quite harder in the game. It takes longer. You there is a risk for the wife of your cleric, because I will just call that character cleric because it's boring to call it cleric or shaman or scholar all the time. So that's
Right.
yeah. Um, so for simplicity. So right now there is a big chance, especially if the war continues with that kingdom or with other kingdoms, and there is a lot of tension. There is a big chance that that guys that your cleric is trying to convert will pretty much get him and kill him, and it's dangerous, and also it's very expensive as an upkeep. So you
Like burn the heretic, right? Burn the heretic. I
yeah
shall
yeah
not. I shall not believe what you say. I shall throw you into the flames instead.
yeah
Oh
yeah.
man.
Who's
I
that
have, I
guy
have a
trying to
question for
convert
chat
our
on this
religion?
actually. So like this is a good question for chat. I think there's two different ways that this can be. Like you can either be true to your foundational beliefs and be like, no, everyone's gonna believe what I believe in the beginning, or you could be malleable, like and decide to take the religion of the dominant population, like if you're on a conquest, right? So what do you think, chat? Which one do you think you would do more? Would you say you're starting as a one province and you're Catholic, and then you invade and take over 3 or 4 provinces of an Islamic sect, let's say Sunni or something like that. Would you rather convert all of them to Catholicism, which is a lot of effort, or would you rather convert your kingdom to Sunni and just be like, no, now we're Sunni, it's easier? Like, which do you think would be the way that you would probably play? I'd be curious to see what chat says. They're both different types of problems, so it's an interesting thought process to think through. So
Yeah,
weigh in
it's
chat. Let me know what you which way you'd play. How would you play, Alex? Would you convert your religion or
um,
would you convert the provinces?
I've done both of those very often, and it pretty much depends on the political climate as well. Because if I'm invading little by little some territory, but my main the main parts of my kingdom, for example, is the Islam world. Well, I will rather convert the provinces, I think. But if I start with the kingdom, which is, for example, Catholic, but it's all of its neighbors are Muslims. There is a lot of problems diplomatically, and sometimes it's easier just to change your religion. And
Well,
yeah, it depends.
Sirius Black wants to change his religion to the religion of flat Earth. So maybe we need a pagan branch of flat earthers. I
Yeah,
don't
it's all
find it
there.
that surprising, by the way, that Templar Knight 633 wants to convert everyone to Catholicism. So I mean that plays that seems to sync up with your name there. And Flavius Eugenius, he's a paganist guy. So we got three different options. We got flat earthers, Catholics, and pagans. But it seems like everyone. So what I'm getting is like people like basically have the religion that they want to proselytize, and then that's the one that they're trying to spread out. That's interesting.
It's an interesting gameplay if you try to be stubborn about this. This is the longest game I had. I played with a part of the Bulgarian kingdom. It's called Karavuna. It's near the Black Sea, but it's just a province actually. So it was very long game, but I had some wars which were on the with Rome, I think, Nicaea, and so on. And basically, my kingdom started growing towards the Islamic lands, Saudi Peninsula, Asia Minor, and so on. And most of my provinces were actually preaching Islam. But I had the ecumenical patriarch, and I didn't want to change my religion. So at one point, I got Mecca and Medina, and this is the point where all the Muslim world hated me so much that there was no way, even if I vassalized someone, I knew that in half an hour, when I get in some wars, there will be independence claim, rebellions, and so on. So basically, I had rebellions all the time, all across my kingdom, and I had to destroy every Islamic kingdom in order to stop the war. So I played this game probably about 25 or 30 hours, and
Oh my god.
the AI wasn't so good at that time, so it was doable. They were not so offensive. If I try to do it right now, probably I will not last 30 minutes. They will destroy me. So yeah, but you can be
That's funny.
stubborn.
I think it'll also be kind of interesting. I don't think this is a feature in the game right now, so I'm kind of like feature creeping in real time. But it could be kind of fun to also play kind of a pseudo Roman type arc where you just flip your religion every like period of time. So it's like you start as Catholic and then you change to like Sunni, and then you change to paganism, and then you change back to like Orthodox. Like, I'd love to just convert my, and I love like a little bit of a like history of that, where it's like imagine you start as Catholic and then you go to like two other religions and you return as Catholic, and some provinces are like, yay, we're back. You know, like having that dynamic can be quite fun.
Yeah, this is very standard for pagans, because if you start with a pagan kingdom, you cannot even build some fundamental buildings like universities, cathedrals, and so on, and you cannot produce some very important resources which are related. You can conquer them though and keep them, even if they are not buildings from your religion, which is pretty cool. But we should say that changing a religion is not so easy as we just talk here, because there are a lot of repercussions for that. First, it's expensive, gold and piety or faith resource. And then you have some downsides. For example, the opinion of the clergy always is reduced to the absolute minimum of -10, which means a lot of tension, problem with the resources that come from the clergy, which are books and piety. So you have very unstable kingdom after you convert your religion, even if many of your provinces preach that religion. Also, if you have clerics, they are quite possible to rebel against you at the moment you convert the religion. So yeah, you lose them as characters.
All I hear you telling me is that converting religion is just a good time. Like it's a fun time. Like you roll the dice and see what happens. So I think when the game eventually does release and everyone gets a chance to play, and by the way, Thomas Lucius Zuckerberg, your name is incredible. That's one of the longer names I've seen, and I was able to pronounce it, so I'm pretty happy about that. I think we should do like a fun challenge where we say, all right, people can submit videos or whatever of a 10 kingdom or a 10 province minimum, and you have to convert your kingdom 4 times and see who can do that the fastest with 10 provinces, 4 conversions, and still be alive. That would be fun. That'd be a hard challenge actually to like roll through and do that many conversions, like build up enough and then stabilize enough to kind of run through it. Yeah, I like that.
Okay, if I'll check out the chat afterwards, but if people like that, we'll add an achievement for this thing. for religious conversions in a game. Okay.
Oh my gosh! Actually, I did not mean to achievement design midstream, but that'd be a really fun achievement. Just like how many times can you convert your kingdom in one game and you have to be a certain size. You can't be like a 1 province kingdom and flip it. You got to have it has to have some weight to it. Watching all the rebellions, watching your clerics leave. I mean, that'd be fun. I can see that being a fun thing. All right, so speaking of, so we're starting to talk about royal court guys a little bit. Let's talk about the royal court some for. So we have there's a religious court class. I think it's there's a name for it based on which sect you are. So we have clerics, scholars, and shaman, I believe, right? Those are the 3 different types.
Yes. This is the let's call it basically this is the cleric class, but depending on what religion your kingdom is, and here the provinces have does not matter, just the kingdom religion. These guys are called in different manner, which is suitable for the religion, and also, of course, they have different special actions that are unique for each religion. But I'm not going to tell which these unique actions are.
No worries. and there's different. I mean, we talked about this a little bit during the stream organically, but there's kind of. Oh yeah, you know what? DevStream number 20. We should have had like the double birthday celebration or something. We should have had like little cupcakes or something for number 20. Man, missed opportunity. Shoot, he's right.
Maybe number 24, because there are 12 months a year. Okay.
We can do something for 24. That's the thing. We gotta talk it up. We gotta find the next and we should have done something for our 20 year. You know what we should do? You know what we should do? I have a better idea. On American rights, it's a little bit for DevStream 21. We should have a beer. Because then our stream is now legally able to drink in the U.S. So
Okay.
we can do a beer on DevStream 21 for the 21st DevStream. That's a good idea.
Okay.
So one of the baseline actions of the cleric class is the preach action, right? So why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Preach is actually the action which we started talking about converting a province religion. And we actually upgraded that action. So right now, if a cleric starts preaching somewhere, you pick where to start, a province to start. Okay. But if he's successful, it's kind of an ongoing mission. So he will try to find another mission in your kingdom nearby, and try to continue the religious preachings until he converts all provinces in the region which do not follow your kingdom's religion. And as I mentioned, it's a very tricky action because it's very expensive, and the upkeep is sometimes so high that you almost get no income for other things. So you have to find a good time to do it. And also your kingdom has to be stable, because otherwise you're putting your cleric's wife at great risk. It's highly possible that he will fail numerous times trying to convert the religion of a province, and he can eventually die. And it's very important whether those provinces are from the same religion but other religion family. For example, it's quite easier to convert provinces from Orthodox to Catholic Christianity, and much harder if you try to convert to a completely different religion. For example, try to make some Muslims Catholic or something like this. It's very hard.
And there's various ways, like it's a skill, so you can actually level up that skill to make it more efficient. And I'm guessing there's also like like traditions and whatnot that can help make that more effective too.
Yeah, this is affected by traditions, skills. Also, the king's attribute religion is also important, and there are some special characters that are quite good at this. For example, if you try to convert religion using the ecumenical patriarch or a cardinal, he has
Oh,
quite
right, right,
bigger
right.
chances. Yeah. So it depends on a lot of factors. Of course, the how high is the level of the character overall. But yeah, it's usually something that you want an experienced cleric to start doing this, because if you start with a very low level character, it will take a lot of time, even if it's successful, and thus you will pay a lot of money for that.
Interesting.
So yeah.
Yeah, I know. There's actually quite a lot of different actions that the clerics or the scholars or the shamans can see. Now I'm doing it. I'm rattling off all three, so we don't. We should have created like a higher level name for them. My favorite one is the one where I don't remember the name of it, but it's the like. So when you, and if you guys can look back at some of the previous dev diaries on this topic, but there's they talk about the challenges of conquering a province, and when you conquer a province, it doesn't get immediately brought into your kingdom. It's in a state for a while where it's basically occupied to a certain degree. It's yours, but you can't build on it. You can't really get benefits from it quite yet. And there's a couple different ways that you can bring it into the fold. Sometimes it'll happen over time naturally. You can do it with aggression. My personal favorite, and this is one of my favorite cleric actions, is you can actually use the cleric class to peacefully bring it into the fold and convert it. What is that action called? I can't remember.
We renamed it several times, but right now it's called Adopt
That's probably why I
Population.
can't remember it. See, they keep
Yeah,
unchanging
yeah.
things on me. Like I'll play a
It's
build, and I'm
not your
like,
fault.
this button used to be called something else. That's not fair. Okay, so now I
Yeah.
feel better about not remembering.
Right now it's called Adopt Population. It
Okay.
might not be the final name actually, but yeah, that's the way it is. It's an action which stops the disorder state of a province, and you want to do that after the province is um, it was just taken from you forcefully, because if you, for example, if you free a province which is loyal to you, and the culture there is the same as yours, it may not fall in disorder. But usually, most of the times, there is a disorder, and here the clerics are very useful, because it's probably the only quick and painless way to do it. Well, it costs resources, and you need to have a free cleric to do that. But if you try to do it in another way, for example, with marshals establishing order, this holds a lot of risk. For example, rebellions can start. Your crown authority can be decreased. Your relations with the neighboring kingdoms suffer from this because you're ruthless. But if you try to do it with a cleric, you need to have the piety or faith and the goal to do it. But then you just don't have those risks. So
Yeah.
it's pretty cool action. And basically, if you want to conquer quickly, this is almost a necessity. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm Hugo Swardian made a really bad pun, and I just couldn't. It's pretty bad. I'm not even gonna repeat it, man. Like that's all right. Good
I
one
have
though. That was a good one.
I have
Yeah.
no idea what I said, but
No. One of the guys in chat, Hugo Swardian made a epic pun that I'm gonna leave there. So I feel like I noticed that when I play, I usually do play the more peaceful route. But you were mentioning I've never, I actually don't know if I've ever played a game where I've tried to just be completely ruthless and take my marshal and every time just crush the disorder. It kind of reminds me. I don't know if you ever played a game called Alpha Centauri. It's an old Sid Meier 4X game. In Alpha Centauri, you could actually when you're when your provinces or your cities rebelled, you could nerve staple them, which is it's a sci-fi game, right? So it's basically like forcibly numbing them and requiring them to be loyal. And you every time you did it, it lasted a shorter period of time and was less effective. And the world
Mm.
got really mad at you as you continue to nerve staple your people. But I had some games where just for fun, I would nerve staple every time someone got a little out of line, and I would just be that ruthless guy. Maybe I should play a Knights of Honor 2 game where I just like go ham, like every province, use the marshal and just no, you're mine now. That'd be
You
pretty
can,
fun.
but you have a lot of tension, and it depends on the player. Some players do it even right now. I prefer to have one or two clerics in the courts and try to be the good guy, at least
Yeah,
a bit. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Alpha Centauri is the closest star system to us, but if you've never seen, I mean, it's an old game, really old game, but it's a fun
yeah, I
concept
know
for
it.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So the last skill I want to talk about is the charity skill, which you were mentioning that game that you were playing before, where you were having a lot of disorder because of the tensions between your religions. So charity is another option. There's a couple different options to help mitigate that. There's province development you can do, and there's some traditions you can take to help mitigate some of that tension. But talk a little bit about charity. How does charity offer another option?
Well, charity is one of the few skills in the game. Well, they're not very few for some classes, but for clerics there are few that are
All right,
unlocked
I'm gonna say
only.
Freudian made yet another pun, and this one I actually think is even better, but still not gonna. If you
Okay,
get
I will
one
check them
more
out
good one in
afterwards.
there, I'll say a third one. If you get one more in there, I'll give you an actual. I'll actually say it on. You're close. All right, keep going. Sorry.
Okay,
Charity.
okay. Just if someone is offended, please excuse me. It's just the quality of my English here. So yeah, if in order to use the action which is called commit to charity, you need to have the skill charity. So it's something that is um, not every cleric can do that. You have to specialize your cleric in that direction.
Okay.
And it's a skill that basically helps you reduce the tension, the rebel risk in your kingdom, and its efficiency depends, of course, on the skill level, traditions, and how skillful the cleric is actually. But what's kind of rare for the skill is that you can have several clerics perform it at the same time. So if things go really bad and you have, for example, two or three clerics in your court, or someone who is pretty powerful, for example, again, a patriarch or cardinal, uh, it can be very helpful to reduce the tension. And this skill, this action, actually helps in your entire kingdom. It's a kingdom-wide action. So sometimes it's something that can save your kingdom from falling apart, especially if you have a lot of wars, a lot of
Though, right?
tension.
Yeah, I actually don't think I've ever really used it much because it always. I mean, I'm sure there's situations where it makes a lot of sense to use, but it costs quite a bit of maintenance too. So it's one of those kind of
Yeah,
like when you need it, use it, but also be aware that you're gonna have some economic cost to boosting or trying to improve your entire kingdom
yeah.
stability.
Yeah, it's true. It's not one of the actions that you use all the time. You just have one cleric do that all the time, and just in case, but it's something that you use when you really need it, actually. So it's a reactive action, and you also need a preparation for it. You need to have the clerics that can do it. So it's just some kind of a really strong card you can use if you are prepared for that.
Yeah. Sodor, be careful, man. You're gonna get, or woman. I'm not sure if you're male or female, but you'll get me start talking about Alpha Centauri. It's one of my favorite 4X games of all time. I can't. This is a Knights of Honor stream. We should do a stream once. I don't know if anyone would find this fun, but we could do a stream sometime. We just talk about our favorite strategy game for like 30 or 45 minutes. That could be a fun like bonus stream. I could see that being an enjoyable geek out time. Just everyone kind of brings some of their different things, and we can take topics from chat, and whoever's played them, we can chat about them. That'd be fun.
Yeah, it's
so
nice.
yeah, so let's take a few questions. We have about 10 minutes left or 12 minutes left. I want to grab a few questions. First, I want to grab a question from chat. We already are from the DevDiary. And if you haven't read the DevDiary, it's on our community site, community.knightsofhonor.com, over that way. Please check it out. If you ask questions there, we try to always answer a couple of them on stream. So I have my handy dandy cheat sheet. I'm going to grab a few of them. Yavor already got his question answered, which is yes. It is, now that I know, a requirement for Black Sea Games employees to go to the Black Sea. So there you go. That's part of the job. BC Knight asked an interesting question that I think is, he says, do you plan to expand the depth of the religion later and add more variety and options for religion in the form of game updates or DLC?
It is something that we have considered a lot. We have a lot of actions and features planned for expansion of the religion. Right now, I think that we are keeping this state and these features for the release of the game, but religiously focused expansion is or more like DLC. It's something that it's quite possible to do later on, or just a regular updates that will add more depth into a religion. This is all unknown territory right now. We're so focused on completing the features we have in the minimum viable product that we don't want to currently add anything else. And of course, we know that after the game is released, we'll have a lot of time and possibility to add more depth on some of the features. We'll definitely we need a lot more feedback from players that actually play the game. So when the game is released, even in beta and so on, we'll be able to see which of the features we have considered and planned are those that are most desired, and then focus our development on them. But right now we cannot answer entirely sure what we're going to expand on.
No, you're good. It's all good. It's I think yeah, we're focused on getting the game done right now, but it is an interesting place to add it, whether it be through patches or DLC or whatever. There's definitely opportunities to add some stuff there. So let's grab some questions from the community. Yavor wants to know if we're going to be participating in Gamescom. I don't believe we're doing anything for Gamescom this year. We do have something special coming up that's not announced yet, so you'll see more about that here in the coming month or so. But for Gamescom, no, there's not going to be anything Knights of Honor 2 related happening there, as far as I understand. So let's grab a few questions from the stream here. So Flavius Eugenius asked a while ago, can you play as Papacy or not?
No, you cannot.
You cannot.
Papacy is the only kingdom in the game you cannot play with, and there are very unique rules for the Papacy. Spy actions in the Papacy, diplomacy with the Papacy, everything is unique there. No, it's very important for the game.
Yeah. Oh, be confident in your answer. Nope. Moving on.
Yeah. Okay.
GoLab 188 asks 1888 or 1888, I should say, probably easier to say it as a year. By playing the Catholic state, will it be easier to convert the pagan land? And will it be more difficult to convert the Catholic lands conquered by pagans? So it's basically, I mean, the lower question is, are there different conversion challenges from one religion to another based on
Yes.
province location or the type of religion you're trying to convert from?
Yes, there. If you get a pagan land which was Catholic and is still Catholic, even though the kingdom is pagan, then you don't have to convert it because it's Catholic. So, on the second part of the question, it doesn't matter if pagans got it, if it's still Catholic, and if they converted it to paganism, it doesn't matter that it was Catholic. Actually.
Yeah. I'm gonna just, even though this is not on my sheet yet, I'm gonna just grab it because Sirius Black asked the question that everyone always asks, which is, when is this game gonna freaking ship? Like, oh my god, I want to bang down your door and figure out why you haven't shipped it yet. I'll tell you this, guys, right now. I mean, we are working on the game every day, all the time. We will announce a release date timing when we feel like we're close enough and comfortable enough to do that. We are doing our best to allow the team at Black Sea Games to make the best version of Knights of Honor 2 Sovereign that we can. And these games are difficult and complicated, and as Alex will probably attest to, they take a lot of work. So I really just, we're not going to be able to give you any information on a release date until we feel like we're there. So you know, it's part of we could always just put a date out there and release something, but that's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to make it the best game it can be. So hopefully you'll appreciate that when it comes out. So let's grab another question. This is not about religion, but I think it's a good question to answer. So Griffonier, God, I got that before. Griffonier asks, will there be also a choice about the century one wants to play with? So they're talking about starting the game and being able to choose some time frames, which I guess would change things like the province names and some of the religion layouts or whatnot. So, and that existed in Knights of Honor 1.
Yeah, currently we have 3 possible periods you can start. It's actually it affects the religion because the political map is quite different, and in the earlier periods you have more pagan kingdoms, and later on most of them have converted to other religions. For example, the Finnish lands are already Catholic. You have some, even the Golden Horde, I think, is Muslim at that point, and so on. So it has some relation to religion, and it's not that hard to add more periods.
I was just giving you guys really detailed answers today. I'm gonna just cut them off and be like, the answer is yes.
Yeah, okay. I'm just trying to explain more about.
We're good.
Yeah.
All right. So moving on to the next question. I'm going to answer this one so that Alex doesn't talk about the structure of the planet first before he answers it. So sorry, I'm just giving you all the time. So Discozy asked, do you plan to enlarge the map in the future? And I think I saw a Black Sea Games response to that, but I'm going to answer it anyways. Guys, the map is flipping huge. Like, if you look at Knights of Honor 1's map compared to this one, it's already substantially bigger than it was before. I don't think you'd want it much bigger than it is. I mean, it takes a hot minute to go from one side of the world to the other. Let me put it that way. So I think you'll be very satisfied with the size of the map, and yeah, it's already quite bigger than Knights of Honor 1.
Actually, what we want to add a smaller version of the map to be a possible choice in the beginning of the game.
Yeah, definitely. Let's grab. So we got 4 minutes left. We can grab a couple more questions. So, oh, this is a good one. This actually, we talked about this, but we'll just answer it. So Malivius asks, can issues with religion in a province instigate a rebellion? So you have a religious rebellion or something caused by religious tension.
Yeah. Should I say more, or that's enough?
we need the difference between just yes and like the PhD dissertation. So yes, okay. But
religious tension is one very important component for tension and increasing of rebel risk. We also had those rebellions that are led by clerics for changing religion and so on. So we have such features, yes.
There was another question I just saw in chat that I wanted to grab. Oh yeah, abusive benefactor. By the way, interesting name. That's a I don't know if I would want to be an abusive benefactor, but can you have clerics promoted to anti-pope or pope? So you actually can get your cleric promoted to pope. I don't know about an anti-pope. That's an interesting concept, but you have to become a cardinal first, if I remember correctly, and then if your cleric becomes a cardinal and the current pope dies, then you can be voted in as pope, and then your cleric becomes the pope.
Yeah, that's true. And you cannot have the anti-pope.
Yeah, no anti-pope.
No.
I don't even know what would an anti-pope be. It's an interesting. I don't know.
It's a very cool song, by the way. You should Google it if you haven't heard it.
No,
The
I haven't
anti-pope.
heard. There's
Yeah.
a song called Anti-Pope.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Okay, I'll have to check that out.
Zwat. It's the singer is Zwat.
Okay. Let's grab one more question. Let's see. We already answered the question about the military units. We did ask. We answered the question about converting empires to different religions. So you can convert your empire or your kingdom to different religions based on a pretty big investment and potentially a high risk. We talked about potentially adding a new fancy dancy achievement about converting your kingdom multiple times. So that'll be fun. Here's one that's kind of random. I don't really think this is the answer is going to be no, but this is still a fun one. It says Yogo Swardian also says, will there be a way for a sneaky priest to throw down the current patriarch / pope, replacing him without the current head having to die first? So basically, can you like usurp power from one of these power centers without the person dying from old age?
There are some mechanics that can lead to that, but not with the Pope, but with the ecumenical patriarch. If you,
Oh, really?
Yeah, you can, for example, even try to bribe him and make him rebel, and then he's no longer the ecumenical patriarch. And yeah, there are several such mechanics. There are still such features in the game for the Pope, but we call them bugs at the moment.
Yeah. Maybe that's what the anti-pope can do. Maybe the anti-pope can convince the pope to retire early. That's there's an anti-pope path. Cool. All right. I think that's all the questions. I think we actually grabbed all of them. So cool. Well, guys, we're going to be talking a lot more about religion and the road. We have more individual features to go into. We didn't even talk about the different pagan options, so expect to hear more details about that in the future. Maybe one of them will do some gameplay videos on it and actually show you the different options. And I mean, I'm probably going to get in trouble for saying this, but maybe sometime in the next couple months, and I'm not going to say when, but sometime in the near future, I think we're getting close to the point where maybe we'll actually wait, Taco Hungary, what question did you ask that we didn't answer? Won't get an answer. Did I miss a Taco Hungry question? I'll grab your question if you repost it. If it's just release date, I already answered that one. If you guys are just asking about the release date, you can roll back and get the clip from about like 10 minutes ago when I answered that. But yeah, I think soon we may actually be able to do like a live stream of some gameplay. I think it'd be fun to actually like play the game together. Oh, the closed beta alpha in the next 6 months. So I'll say that there are some plans in the works about doing something potentially selective. I don't know how we're going to do that yet. We're still talking through it, but we may do some kind of like a focus test type testing, and there may be an opportunity for someone in the community to get into that. We'll see. We're still kind of conversing about that, so possibly we'll see. And then yeah, we haven't really decided yet about how we're going to handle a beta or an alpha. Whether we're gonna do a closed thing or something, but there's still, it's still on the table. It's still something we're very much talking about, and we may find a way to bring a segment of the community in for some kind of closed beta and round for like a couple weeks or something. So those doors aren't closed or opened; they're still being discussed.
Yeah,
I think doing maybe like sometime live gameplay, that'd be pretty great. So maybe if we'll figure out some stream. Again, it's not going to be next stream or anything like that. I'm not going to make any commitments on that, but it is something we're getting close. Where enough of the UI is in that we probably could do some of that, and that could be a lot of fun. And show off our bugs, show off our fun bugs.
Just say when I'm hosting the game. It's ready.
Yeah, yeah. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate your patience with the audio. We tried to fix it. Twitch is just being mean today. It's a bully. Restart 2021, right? Hashtag restart 2021. But hopefully next time we won't have the delay, and we hope you enjoy the show. And Alex, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yep. Oh, actually, one last thing, Alex. Next stream, if you have any pictures of the Black Sea from your trip, or if you can tell GoGo to take some, that would be kind of cool.
Definitely, I promise.
Yeah, that'd be fun. We'll have an Alex Black Sea show and tell next time, just for Yavor and friends.
Right. I just need some time for my colleagues to Photoshop me a 6-pack, and we're there. It's ready.
There you go. All right, everyone. Have a good one. We'll talk to you next time. Cheers.
See ya.